Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll create few invoices and then we'll apply the payment schedules today. So for the timing, we'll just give it as an invoice date as a today's date, and later we can adjust as per the payment date. Like if so today, assume that we are receiving an invoice today, so we are giving this as an invoice date, today's date. So we are paying for an rent expense. Now click on post. Yeah. Now we have posted and we have just generated an invoice for the rent expense with the worth of 15,000, right? Now we'll quickly go back to the payment schedule and we'll see how does it looks here. I'll just write it as a in bracket payment schedule to make it easy. Like whenever you search for any transactions, right, it will be easy. Lines. So here you have to select the vendor name. So what is the vendor name? Wipro. Yes. Now click on the settle transactions. So this is a invoice, right? Uh, Check this box, ensure that the mark and this box is both are being selected, and then this apply payment schedule will be enabled. Click on apply payment schedule. By default, the percentage option will be shown, but if you click on the drop down, then you should be able to see both percentage and amount. We For example, we have created multiple payment schedules, right? If you want to apply which payment schedule, then click on payment schedule. Yeah, and then click on the drop down here. See, there are multiple payment schedules like pay equally 5 months it is it. So let's say if you want to pay every month 3,000 rupees as a fixed amount. If you apply this one, and again it will ask you to select the starting date. Starting date is nothing but from when you want to start to pay to do this payment. Let's say you want to start this payment from August 1st. Then you can give August 1st as a first due date. It is not the final due date, it's the due date for the first invoice. Now click on OK. Yeah, can you see here? So based on the amount, what is the invoice amount? 15,000, right? And as in the payment schedule, you have updated stating that 3,000 should be the fixed amount. So based on that, it has divided the entire invoice into five schedules. See here, and we'll try to change the payment schedule. Let's say you don't want to give it in a 5 installments, you wanted to change the payment schedule. So if you want to change, you can just delete everything, again click on payment schedule. Now let's say you want to select this one, pay equally over the 9 months. We'll give that one. Let the starting date today itself. Yeah. Can you see here? See why it is taking as a amount in 1 rupee instead, because maybe in the, let's see what they have given the terms and conditions in the payment schedule as a pay equally over the 9 months. Let me cancel this one. Yeah. Can you see here? They have updated amount in transaction currency as a one. That means they are expecting I mean, they have mentioned that every month they'll be paying 1 rupee. So uh, that's the reason it is showing as a 1 rupee is a minimum amount. So at least if you don't give it this as an minimum amount, since you have already decided to give it as a minimum 9 months, right? The fixed amount. Then let's say we'll give it as a 1,000. Okay. So before getting into that, before applying the payment schedule, so we have decided to apply this payment schedule, right? Now see how does that looks here. Go to the payment schedule. Now we'll select the 9 months one, pay equally over the 9 months. Click on OK. Let me just select the amount here. Yes. If you see here, we have given 1,000 rupees as a minimum amount, right? Every month. What is the invoice amount? 15,000. But if you, if you see here, what does it says? Pay equally over the 9 months. That means it will the system will not consider whatever you have updated in the description. The system will consider whatever the control that you have given in these fields, because this is just a description, right? It is not impacting any of the transaction. See whatever the fields that you have given, either fixed amount, payment per month, and amount in transaction currency, all these things it will these are the fields which will impact the payment schedule here. See now by default, as per the minimum amount whatever it is given, 1,000 rupees, right? So what is the invoice amount? 15,000. So the invoice got breakdown into 15 in 15 dates. Now don't get confused. Even when I have selected the payment schedule as a 9 months, but why is it still showing as a 15? The reason being, you have selected the incorrect payment schedules. You should not select it, because you that's the reason. First you have to decide what is the agreement that you have entered with the vendor, and which payment schedule is applicable for this particular vendor. So based on that you have to select the payment schedules. So if you have entered an agreement with the vendor stating that pay equally for the 5 months, then you select this pay equally for the payment 5 months. Also see, this is the like in the maybe we let's see, if you go to the payment schedule, what is it? Pay equally over the 5 months. Yeah. Can you see this one? Let's say this is an agreement that you have entered. Yeah. Let's say this is an agreement that you have entered. This is specified one. You in the first installment you will be paying 40%, and then second 30, followed by 20, 10. So based on that, it has been applied here. And here again, you can edit the amount. Let's say you want to pay in the first installment itself, some say 8,000. This field is still editable. So rest of the fields you have to remove that one, or you have to change the amount. Since we have increased the first installment to from 6 to 8, right? So you will remove the balance amount. Yes. Can you see it? The reminder field, now it is empty here. So did you understand how to apply the payment schedules based on the agreement that you have entered with the invoice? Now let's say we'll click on OK, and we'll see how does it impact. See, and there's a disclaimer stating that after applying the payment schedule is applied, due date, obviously it will change the due date, right? Because whatever the original invoice you have, whatever the due date that is applied on the given on the invoice, it will change because you have customized this vendor payment. Click on continue. All right. So can you see here? Earlier there used to be only one invoice, and then now it got divided into three invoices. Let's say you want to make this payment. See, again it will the apply payment schedule will be enabled. The reason being system doesn't know. See, till before applying the payment schedule, system understood that it was a separate invoice. Later, again this is a new invoice, right? For system, it is just a new invoice. Unless you reverse the transaction, it is considered as a new invoice. You can still apply the payment schedule here. So let's say you want to clear this payment. Yeah. So you wanted to pay this payment, right? 8,000 rupees. Then you will select the bank account. Click on validate. Now click on post. Now it got posted. We'll go back to see and we'll see the voucher. Can you see here? Accounts payable account data to bank account. That means for if you click on the transaction origin, you will be able to see. Yes, the rent expense which you're supposed to pay for window for Wipro, uh, as per the summary account, it has been deducted from the accounts payable account data, and then you have selected the bank account. That is this one only, right? Operating bank account. So that's the reason the entry got posted here. All right. So now, did you understand how to apply the payment schedules? Do you have any doubts here? So if you try to apply multiple, invoices and then the different payment schedules, then it will be clear for you. So any doubts here? How to apply payment schedules? Hello, Ritesh,
No, clear.
Sankarshan.
Okay, bro.
Okay. Santosh.
క్లియర్.
Okay.
ఇదంతా మనం మోస్ట్లీ నిన్న డిస్కస్ చేసిందే కదా.
నిన్న చేసింది జస్ట్ ఒక్కటే నిన్న కరెక్ట్గా అప్లై చేయలేదు లాస్ట్లో, అందుకే ఇప్పుడు అప్లై చేశాను అంతే. So if you are clear with this vendor payment schedules, now we'll go for the terms of payment. So terms of payment, let me just explain you. So terms of payment is, it will help you to calculate the due date of the invoice. See, the main purpose of updating the payment setup or configuration the payment setup is to ensure that the timely payments are being done to the vendors, right? So for the purpose, you will have to ensure for, let's say as per the PO or as per the invoice due date or the agreement that you have entered, right? If you want to pay after 30 days, 45 days, and there will be a number of such groups will be there, a number of vendors are there. Each and every vendor have their own terms of payment, so it is not possible every time to enter the due date, right? So for that purpose, you can create like such multiple terms of payments, let's say like net 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, or let's say after 1 month. So whatever it may be, like we can create multiple such terms of payments here. So we'll create few terms of payments. So the navigation would be accounts payable. Same again under the payments, payment setup. This is terms of payment here. Go to here. If you see here, there are already a multiple terms of payments has been already created. Now we'll quickly create a new one. Okay, the first terms of payment will be cash on delivery. See, cash on delivery. See, it is see even though cash is a method of payment, but still it will be one of the terms of payment. The reason why, let's say there is no due date, there's nothing like as and whenever you receive an invoice, if you're supposed to pay at the same time, then it is called as a cash on delivery, right? That's the reason we'll have to create a separate terms of payment that is a cash on delivery. And obviously this cash on delivery means only cash will be applicable. So let's say there is no cash on delivery here. Okay, fine. It is already updated here. So cash on, you will update the terms of payment as a cash on delivery, and then description as a cash on delivery. Here, obviously, if you click on the drop down, there are multiple options: net, current month, current quarter. Since the terms of payment we are selecting as a cash on delivery, we'll select this one, and this cash payment should be enabled because you are collecting only cash. And even though these fields are editable, like months, days, payment schedules, everything, but you should not give any because there's no such grace days that you're giving, right? It is just a cash on delivery. Whenever the moment you receive the invoice, you have to do the payment. So for such vendors, you can select this as a cash on delivery and enable all these options as a 0. And we'll also see how does it looks whenever you apply for any such invoice. Let's say you want to apply any of that particular terms of payment. AP invoice, click on lines. Okay. See, while creating the while posting the invoice journal, right? If you see here, let's say you're receiving an invoice today. I'm giving today's as an invoice date, and then on the in the drop down there is a terms of payment. If you click on the terms of payment, these are the terms of payments which are already there. So let's say if you want to make it a cash on delivery, that means today itself you're supposed to pay. Then if you click on the cash on delivery, can you see here? There's no change in the due date because we haven't given any days or anything here. If you give any day, then it will change here. But since we decided to pay on the same day, that's the reason the due date has not been changed here. We'll try to see Okay, let's say you want to give some 5 days net 5 days. So net 5 days is nothing but from invoice date you are giving 5 days as a grace period to do the payment. So for that purpose, in the payment method you will have to select the net, which is already default, the first one, and then here in the days field you'll have to give 5 days, and the rest of the fields make it default. Let it be 0 on the payment day, payment schedule, everything let it be 0. So as per this one, if you click on the save, now again we'll go back to the vendor invoice journal, we'll do the refresh. Yeah. Let's say you want to select the net 5 days, right? Yes, net 5 days. If you select this one, why is it not changing the due date? Did we give? Okay, let me click on the save here. So generally the due date has to change, has to be updated here. Let me see. Let's see why it is not working. We'll check any other net 30. I think there is an system error here. Else the due date has to be changed. We'll create a new invoice and we'll see why is it not taking. So let me select the vendor, Wipro. Okay, I think there is an issue here. We'll see for any other invoice. Let me select any other vendor. Today's invoice date.
బ్యాక్ డేటెడ్ తీసుకోవచ్చా?
తీసుకోవచ్చు మనం. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నిన్న ఇన్వాయిస్ వచ్చింది అనుకో, ఈరోజు పోస్ట్ చేసి ఈరోజు అప్డేట్ చేయాలి, అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాం?
అంతేలే. బట్ మామూలుగా దానికైతే మంత్ ఆన్ మంత్ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్ ఉంటుందేమో కదా, అది మనం పెట్టుకునే దాన్ని బట్ట.
ఓకే, ఇక్కడ చేంజ్ చేయండి చూడు. సరే, అదే ఇన్వాయిస్ నంబర్ ఇవ్వట్లేదా ఇందాక నుంచి? విల్ క్విక్లీ గో ఇన్వాయిస్ జర్నల్. I'll create a new invoice here. యాక్చువల్గా వెంటనే అయిపోతుంది, ఫ్రాక్షన్ ఆఫ్ సెకండ్స్లో అది అప్డేట్ అయిపోవాలి. లెట్స్ సీ, సెలెక్ట్ ద సేమ్ వెండర్ 7. ఇక్కడ లోడ్ అవుతుంది టైం అవడానికి. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడ let's say we'll go for the cash on delivery. Yeah, by default the due date is same. We'll go for net 1 day. Yes, can you see it? Now it is immediately changing. Sometimes it happens, you'll have to do refresh, or you can come back and post the new journal. Now as per the net one is nothing but, here you might have given what is the net 1 here. Yeah, the payment method is net is nothing but the same day, like invoice date, and then the day is 1. So that's the reason the due date has been increased to from 7th to 8th. I will quickly go back and we'll see what net 45. Can you see here? Due date has been changed. So based on the terms of payment, as per the agreement that you have entered with particular vendor, right? You can select the terms of payment. Let's say you want to apply any payment schedule here itself. So for that, we'll try to create a new one. Okay, before getting into the payment schedule, let's say we'll discuss all these things and then we'll go for that. So current, let's say we want to pay 1 month plus 5 days. That means current month plus 5 days. So irrespective of the date, whenever you receive, right, from let's say in this month you are receiving an invoice on, if you are receiving an invoice that is between 1 to 31st, you have to pay that is only for the next month, the 5th date. But how do you give that next month's 5th date? For that, the current month has to be completed. So you will select the payment method as a current month, and you are giving as a next month 5th. So if you click on save, we'll again come back here, we'll see. Okay, we'll have to change it here. Wait, we'll create a new one. Because this payment schedule might have applied for any other days, any other transactions. Let's say short form as it CM5, that is current month 5 days. So here in the drop down, select the current month, then go to the, we are giving it as a 5 days, click on save. Yes, current month 5 days, right? Yeah. Can you see here? The due date has been changed to August 5th. So whatever the let me also try to change the invoice date here. Let's say you want to go for the 11th, that is future dated invoice. So due date for the cash on delivery will still remain same, but if you go for this current month 15, sorry, not this one, CM, right? We have decided. Yeah. Can you see it? The due date has not been changed. So irrespective of the invoice due date, it will consider the due date as a current month plus 5 days. Similarly, you can create such multiple terms of payment as per the agreement, like net 20, net 30, net 45, anything it may be as per your agreement. And we'll also see what are the other options. Current quarter, quarter. Okay, let me not change this one.
శ్రీనివాస్
Hello.
శ్రీనివాస్
Ah.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇట్లా పేమెంట్స్ డ్యూ డేట్ పెట్టుకునేది రిస్ట్రిక్షన్ తో పెట్టుకోవచ్చా?
అంటే
ఇప్పుడు కరెంట్ మంత్ ప్లస్ 5 అని పెట్టినావు కదా,
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు మనకు ఆ డే సండే అట్లా వచ్చింది అనుకో, అట్లా కాకుండా ఇప్పుడు సండే వస్తే వన్ డే
అదే చెప్తాను. అదే ఒక్కొక్క ఫీల్డ్స్ అదే ఆ ఫీల్డ్స్ మనం ఇక్కడ చెప్తాను. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు పే only on Monday to Friday. So if you want to exclude the Saturday and Sunday, right? So for that purpose, let's say you want to pay current month Wednesday, next Wednesday. So not this is not the right description. We'll see which. We'll see whether that is possible or not. Here, if you remember last time we have configured payment days, right? So you can quickly go back. Let's say you want to do this payment on Friday instead of Wednesday. We'll see how does it works here. Let's say you want to do the payments on next month Friday, that is Friday of every week. We have selected this as a Friday. Okay, now we'll go back to the invoice journal, refresh, and we'll see. CM Friday, right? What is August 5th here? Can you see here? August 5th is a Friday. So we'll try to change the invoice date. Let's say, for example, you have received an invoice on 11th. I think it is taking some time to refresh. I don't know why.
కాదు, చేంజ్ అవ్వదు. ఎందుకంటే CM 5 పెట్టినా కరెంట్ మంత్ ఫ్రైడే పెట్టినా అది 5th వచ్చేది.
సారీ, అది 5th ఉంది కదా, సో ఇది చేంజ్ కాదు కదా. కాదు, ఇది
కావాలంటే లాస్ట్
ఒక
మంత్
నిమిషం.
డేట్ పెట్టే, ఏదైనా లాస్ట్ మంత్ డేట్ పెట్టి అప్పుడు
వేరే
జరుగుతుంది.
ఒక నిమిషం. ఓకే, నేను ఇందాక హ్యాంగ్ అయింది కదా డ్యూ డేట్ది. వర్క్ అవుతుంది డ్యూ డేట్. సో కరెంట్ మంత్ ఇది వర్క్ అవుతుంది, బట్ CM ఫ్రైడే కావాలి నాకు. ఓకే, ఫ్రైడే అయితే మరి సేమ్ ఇర్రెస్పెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ ఫ్రైడేనే చూపిస్తుంది నెక్స్ట్ మంత్. చూడు,
సేమ్ డేటే. చూడు, August 5th వస్తుంది అది, కానీ నువ్వు ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ మార్చి
సేమ్ కదా. ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ లాస్ట్ మంత్. ఓకే,
చూడు,
ఓకే, ఇక్కడ డ్యూ డేట్ వచ్చి 1st జూలై. 1st జూలై ఫ్రైడే వచ్చింది. సో ఇక్కడ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ పేమెంట్లో మనం ఆల్రెడీ కాన్ఫిగర్ చేసాం కదా పేమెంట్స్ డే ఇంతకుముందు. సో ఇక్కడ పేమెంట్ డేస్లో యూ కెన్ నీకు అలా మండే టు ఫ్రైడే కావాలనుకుంటే లైక్ వెడ్నెస్డే ఏదో ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చావనుకో, సేమ్ అప్లై అవుతుంది కరెంట్ మంత్ ప్లస్ వీక్ డే. సో నెక్స్ట్ again we'll go back to the new one.
శ్రీనివాస్, ఇప్పుడు ఇన్వాయిస్ వచ్చిన మంత్ లో మైనస్ వర్క్ డే -1 అట్లా పే చేయలేదు. అట్లాంటివి ఏమైనా ఉందా ఆప్షన్? హలో
హలో వర్క్ డే అంటే అర్థం కాలేదు నాకు.
ఇప్పుడు ఇది నీ క్యాలెండర్ ఓపెన్ చేయి.
ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఈ రోజు ఇన్వాయిస్ రిసీవ్ చేసుకున్నావు.
జూలై మంత్ ఉంది కదా.
ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు దీంట్లో లాస్ట్ డేట్ వచ్చేసి నీకు 31 వస్తుంది.
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు 31 పే చేయాలని. ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నీకు లాస్ట్ డే వచ్చేసి 30 వచ్చింది. 31 కానీ సండే కదా. సో
30 సాటర్డే.
వర్క్ డే -1 అంటే 29.
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు అట్లా పెట్టుకోవచ్చా అంటున్నా.
ఇక్కడ మనకు ఆప్షన్ ఉంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అది చెప్పాను కదా! ఇక్కడ పేమెంట్ మెథడ్‌లో నువ్వేం చేంజ్ చేయలేవు. నువ్వేమన్నావు ఫస్ట్ కరెంట్ మంత్‌లో తీసుకోవాలి. కానీ తర్వాత నువ్వు అలా అయితే నువ్వు మరి ఇక్కడ కరెంట్ మంత్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకునే బదులు ఇక్కడ పేమెంట్ డే సెలెక్ట్ చేసేసుకోవచ్చు కదా నువ్వు.
లాస్ట్
లాస్ట్
వర్కింగ్ డే
ఫ్రైడే. అవును.
ఇన్వాయిస్
లాస్ట్ ఫ్రైడే సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు కదా!
లాస్ట్ ఫ్రైడే నీకు లాస్ట్ డే కాదు, లాస్ట్ వర్కింగ్ డే కాదు కదా.
ఓకే. లాస్ట్ వర్కింగ్ డే అంటున్నావు కదా!
లాస్ట్
సో,
వర్కింగ్
మరి
డే
ఎలా?
ఇన్వాయిస్ ఈ మంత్ లో రిసీవ్ చేసుకున్నావు అనుకో,
అదే ఈ మంత్ కరెంట్
ఈ
మంతే.
మంత్ లో లాస్ట్ వర్కింగ్ డే లో పే చేయాలి అట్లా.
చూద్దామండి ఒక్కసారి అది అలాంటి ఆప్షన్ ఏమైనా ఉంది. పేమెంట్ డేలో ఇక్కడైతే మనం ఏం చేయలేం కరెంట్ మంత్‌లో. సో, ఇక్కడ డేస్‌లో కూడా మనం ఇక్కడేం ఫీల్డ్స్ ఇవ్వలేము. సో, పేమెంట్ డేలోనే చూడాలి. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూద్దాం. వీక్ ఉంది. ఇక్కడ వీక్‌లో ఎందుకు తీసుకోవట్లే ఒక్క నిమిషం న్యూ చేద్దాం. ఇక్కడ ఏమైనా రిస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయా నేను చూస్తున్నా. ఎందుకంటే మనం లెటర్స్ ఎంటర్ చేస్తుంటే రావట్లే. ఎంతనో ఏదో ఒకటి అలా ఇవ్వాల్సొస్తుంది. ఓకే. ఇక్కడ వీక్ ఉంది. డే ఆఫ్ ద వీక్ ఫ్రైడే ఉంది. బట్ ఇది ఫస్ట్ వీకా లేకపోతే లాస్ట్ వీక్ ఇట్స్ వర్కింగ్ డే అని ఇక్కడ లేదు.
ఓకే.
సో, అది చూడాలి. ఉంటది మోస్ట్‌లీ ఎక్కడైనా మనము కస్టమైజ్ చేసుకోవడమా లేకపోతే ఎలా అని లాస్ట్ వర్కింగ్ డే ఏదైతే ఉంటది. చూద్దాం అది నెక్స్ట్ ఒకవేళ ఉంటే నేను చెప్తా కనుక.
సరే.
ఓకే. సో, ప్రస్తుతానికి డిఫాల్ట్ ఆప్షన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉన్నాయో చూద్దాం. సో, కరెంట్ మంత్. సో, ఇన్ కేస్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు సెలెక్ట్ కరెంట్ మంత్ యూ కెన్ సెలెక్ట్ దిస్ వన్. Okay, but we have decided to go for the current quarter plus 10 days, right? So current quarter plus 10 days means. So let's say you want to give 10 days here. So let's ensure that everything is updated here.
Srinivas,
Huh.
with the current, if we take only current month, no, what due date will come? No plus by nothing.
We'll see that. That also we'll see. For example, current quarter 10 days, right? We have selected. Okay, so the due date has been changed to August 10th because current quarter ends with the July, right? So once the July quarter is completed, then the due date by default, as per the instruction, it will go for the August 10th. Yeah. So let it be this one, and since you have mentioned that we'll go for the same current month. I'm thinking it will take the last working day, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Current month. Let me not give anything here. I'll just click on save. Current month. Yes, 30th is okay. So it will take the last. Okay, so invoice date I have given June, right? We'll give June first. Okay, it will not take the last working day yet. It will take the last day of that particular month. So if you select the current month, so the last working days one will have to check if there is any other option. So we'll see other options what are available here. Current quarter we discussed current month. So same logic it will apply like current quarter and current year also. If you apply this current year, the payment will happen in the next year, and the current week also same thing. So let's say you want to apply if you want to apply this payment schedule, then the invoice journal will see it current week. So again, you are not giving any days or payments here. We'll select the current week. The due date is 2nd July. Yeah. So the week, the invoice date is 1st July, right? So it will end. The end of that particular week is 2nd July. That the due date is calculating as a 2nd July. We'll see. For example, if you're giving the today's date, so the due date has been changed to 9th July. That is 9th is the last day of that particular week. It is not the last working day. It is just the last day of that week. Same logic it will apply for current week, current month, current year, anything. If you apply any of these and if you do not give any month, days or anything, then by default it will take the last day of that particular current period that you have selected. And important thing is here cutoff day. Let me just click on save, and again we'll go back to the new one. Let's say you want to go for the in days. Current month. Sorry, we'll go for the cutoff day directly. Okay, so let's say you want to pay 20 net 20 days one. What are the payment days that we have configured here? 10th we have. Okay. In general, earlier we have discussed it. What do you mean by net 10 days? That is nothing but invoice date plus 10 days, right? But if you want to give any cutoff day, let's say, for example, you're selecting here it as a 10th of every month. And what is the cutoff date to receive the invoice? That is, let's say, 8th. Okay. So this cutoff day is nothing but as per this one, whatever you have selected, let's say you will be doing the payment on 10th, right? What irrespective of the day, whenever you receive the invoices, if you don't give this cutoff day, every month 10th the payment will happen for that particular vendor. But since you have given cutoff day as a 10th, let's say a cutoff day as a 8th, right? Whatever the invoices that you have received till 8th, only those invoices will get payment, will be paid on the 10th. Let's say if the invoice is received on 9th, then payment cycle for that particular vendor, it will again, he has to wait till next month 10th only. The reason being, you have given the cutoff day as a 8th year. So let's say if you are giving this cutoff day as a 5th, and we'll quickly go back to the invoice journal. Let me save here. Yeah. So we'll see the, we'll select the cutoff day one. Okay, to make it easy, let me net 10. Yeah. Can you see here what is this showing? Net payment as a 10th, right? Okay, let me change the invoice date here. Yeah. Can you see here? Irrespective of the invoice date, whenever I receive, right, the due date is still 8. It is 8 next month, the 10th. That means the payment day we have given it as a 10th, right? So let's say we'll select the invoice date as a next month 6th. Can you see here why the due date has not been yeah, now the due date has gone to September 10th. The reason being, cutoff date we have given as a 5th, but what is the invoice date here? August 6th. August 6th, that is after 5th cutoff the day, right? That's the reason it went to the next September 10th. So based on the agreement that you have entered, or based on the cutoff days that you have decided within your organization, you can give the cutoff day here. Yeah. So this is all about the terms of payments. You can explore multiple fields here. Current day and the payment. One more important thing is current. So payment schedule and the default terms of payment is, let's say if you're applying this as a default terms of payment, so irrespective of the vendor, whatever the vendor you are going to enter right, the vendor invoice, by default this net 10 particular terms of payment will be applicable for that all the vendors. So it will not give you any option here. By default it will be 10 net 10 for any new vendor invoice that you're going to post. Yeah. So this payment schedule is nothing but Already we have created multiple payment schedules, right? By default, uh, for this particular vendor, the payment schedule should get applicable. Let's say we are selecting the payment schedule as a fixed 300. Click on lines. It is taking some time to select the vendor here. Net 10, right? We'll select the same net 10 one here. Yeah, payment schedule also it has been applied. We'll click on validate and we'll see. Wait, we have not selected the ledger account, the offset account. So let me give the amount as a 50 here. Click on voucher. Yeah, current expense account data to accounts payable it is here. Or else even if you want to see the transactions of that particular vendor, right? It is not necessary that you have to go for the vendor payment journal. Click on all vendors. Open the Wipro transaction vendor. Here can you see on the action pan, vendor is here, right? Below that vendor, transactions. You can see all the transactions. Yeah. So this is the invoice we have created, right? That is INV 400. That is of 15,000, right? And we have even applied the payment schedule. What is the payment schedule? As per the payment schedule, it got divided. Can you see here? INV 400. This is the invoice amount, and by default, it got divided. Is this the same invoice, or is it whether this is related to same or not? Okay, earlier also we have given 15,000, right? So let me change the amount and we'll see.
శ్రీనివాస్,
Huh.
ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఆడ ఇన్వాయిస్ వాల్యూ 2000 వేసుకొని ఈడ ఫిక్స్ 3000 పెట్టుకుంటే
2000 ఇక్కడ చేంజ్ చేసాం కదా, 15,000 వేసాం కదా, చేంజ్ చేసాం కదా.
చేసినావు అట్లా పెడితే ఎర్రర్ త్రో అవుతుందా?
అంతే
లేకపోతే
కదా. అది
ఓకే
ఎర్రర్ త్రో అవుతది. చూసాం అది. ఎర్రర్ త్రో అవుతదా? లేకపోతే తీసుకున్నా గూడా మోస్ట్‌లీ
2000
ఎర్రరే
పే చేయాలి.
రావాలి. అంతే 2000 తీసుకోవాలి. అంతే కదా.
సేమ్ ఇన్వాయిస్ చేంజ్ చేయడానికి కుదరదా? మనం ఎప్పుడు ప్రతిసారి కొత్త ఇన్వాయిస్ చేస్తా ఉన్నాం.
ఏంటి?
సేమ్ ఇన్వాయిస్ ఇంతకుముందు 15,000 ఇన్వాయిస్ చేసావు కదా, అదే
అవును.
ఎడిట్ అయిపోతుంది కదా.
అక్కడ సేమ్ అమౌంట్ ఉంది. కన్‌ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతారని వేరే అమౌంట్ ఏద్దాం అనుకున్నాను.
ఆ ఇన్వాయిస్ ఎడిట్ చేసుకుంటే అయిపోతుంది కదా, మనం ప్రతిసారి కొత్త ఇన్వాయిస్.
ఎడిట్ చేయాలంటే ఇన్వాయిస్ ఎడిట్ కాదు. అది రివర్స్ చేయాలి ట్రాన్సాక్షన్‌ని.
పోస్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఎడిట్ చేయలేము కదా.
పోస్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఎడిట్ చేయలేం. దాన్ని రివర్స్ చేయాలి. అంతే కదా.
డిలీట్ చేయొచ్చు కదా.
డిలీట్ చేస్తే నీకు ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇంపాక్ట్ అలాగే ఉంటది. ఓన్లీ ఇన్వాయిస్ పోతది అంతే నీ బుక్స్‌లో. ఎప్పుడే గాని జర్నల్ ఎంట్రీస్ మనం రివర్స్ చేయాలి. రివర్స్ చేసి ఫైనాన్షియల్ నువ్వు రికార్డ్ తీసేస్తున్నావు నీ బుక్స్ ఆఫ్ అకౌంట్స్‌లో నుంచి. రికార్డ్ తీసేసినంత మాత్రాన దాని ఇంపాక్ట్ అయిన లెడ్జర్ అకౌంట్స్‌లో అక్కడంతా అలాగే ఉంటది గదా. అదే రివర్స్ చేస్తే అక్కడున్న లెడ్జర్ అకౌంట్స్‌లో కూడా డెబిట్ అనేది క్రెడిట్ అవుతది. అట్లా. ఓకే. ఇక్కడ లెడ్జర్ అకౌంట్ ఇవ్వాలి.
वाइट वाटलं तुमचे मिस्टर गेले.
అకౌంట్స్ పేయబుల్ ఆల్ వెండర్స్. Vendor, click on transactions. Okay, first we'll have to select the vendor, right? Did you select the vendor? Okay, so it is not taking the payment schedule is not applied for this particular vendor. That is 25,000. But generally, this 25,000 it has to be divided. ఓకే. సో, అదొక్కటి అప్లై యాక్చువల్‌గా బై డిఫాల్ట్ ఇక్కడ వచ్చేస్తది. బట్ ఇక్కడ రాలేదు. అంతే. ఆహ్, సో, ఇది దిస్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ ద టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ పేమెంట్. ఓన్లీ దిస్ వన్ వి హావ్ టు చెక్ దట్స్ ఆల్. విల్ సీ వాట్ ఈస్ ఎర్రర్. But most of the times it will the invoice amount should get deducted as per the payment schedule only. Let's see if it is showing in the vendor payment here. I don't think so. It will not show because whatever the transactions that is shown in the vendor, right? It will show the same here as well. Wipro. Now we'll select the transaction. Okay, so what is the invoice number we have given uh, when yeah, IN is 700, right? Okay, it got split. Wait, here it is showing. Can you see here? Invoice 700. 3, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let me just select all these invoices. Yes. So here in the vendor transactions, the invoice was not divided. But if you go to the vendor payments, it is divided because for this particular vendor, the invoice amount is still as a 25,000 only, right? Maybe that is the reason it is showing as only one invoice, even though you have applied the payment schedule. So if you go to the vendor payments, you can see here the total invoice amount is 25,000 since we have applied the payment schedule in the terms of payment. Let's say if you want to clear off all these invoices in a single shot, can you see here 25,000 it took. We'll do the payment here. Let me directly click on the post instead of validate. Sorry, it is throwing an error where we went wrong. Bank account it didn't select. So that's the reason we have this option validate, so that it will ensure all the fields are selected. Click on post. Click on voucher to see the transaction. Yeah, accounts payable account data to bank account. Now we'll see how does it looks here. We have paid this amount, right? We'll do the refresh. Yeah, can you see here amount in balance? Sorry. So balance it is showing as a 0. Earlier it was showing as a 25,000. Since we have paid this amount, it is showing as a 0. That's all. So this is how you have to understand the format updated here. Balance is reporting currency is nothing but the balance of that particular invoice, and the status you can see here. So here you can see the list of the transactions for this particular Wipro vendor. Okay, so I'm done with the terms of payment and how to apply terms of payments, payment schedules, everything. So in the next class, we'll discuss about the cash discounts, and then directly we'll go to the method of payment is it. So method of payment, cash discounts, and then we'll see how to create the products for the purchase order. So do you have any doubts here? See, try to create payment schedules, terms of payment, and then apply to multiple invoices. That is where you'll get the error.